Hello, my lovely people. My name is Kate. I'm a hypnotherapist, and my channel is all about fears, phobias, anxiety, depression, and getting to know what is happening in your mind and how to take the first steps, to find the joy and happiness in your life, because it's possible. You deserve it. So today, a very interesting, one of my favorite topics is the fear of making mistakes, right? Everyone remembers that red pen in school. You do, right? I'm sure you do. I actually had clients who got triggered by the color red, by red pen, right? Red color pen, because they got triggered from their school. This is just proves that your subconscious mind doesn't know time. So if it was traumatized, there was like some dramatic experience that wasn't resolved, your mind will get triggered by something that is related to that event or memory or feeling, right? So I had clients who were triggered by red pen. She's like, I never write in red color, ever. I never wear red color. It triggers me, And when we go back, and she says that she wasn't doing really good in school, and she was very severely punished for her mistake, for her bad marks, right? Bad grades in school. So she was like, she had the whole panic and anxiety associated with teachers, marking her tests and her assignments, right? So this is what your mind can do just from some past experiences. We are raised in the fear of making mistakes right from the early childhood. Like right when you are born, when you're a toddler, like when you're an infant, like you still kind of like pure sensation. You want your basic needs to be met, love, support, nourishment, right? Attention. But when you are like toddler and when you start to really explore the world, that's when you first become aware of that you can make a mistake. But for the child, it's just so confusing because they don't understand. If they broke a vase or they broke a glass, right? It's fun for them. Like nothing bad happened, really, right? They don't really realize that it costs money, or that it frustrates mom or dad, right? But as parents, we are traumatized ourselves, so we are projecting our fears, our egos, right, on our kids. Happened to me so many times. So, we learn that, if we do this, we can be punished, but we don't understand why. And usually, not often parents explain why. That's why it gets even more confusing, right? When you are in school, school years, before the teenage years, before the age of 12 as well, you get punished, criticized for bad marks. You have these high expectations. If you do, right? Then you are afraid to make mistakes as well, because if you bring them AC to AC home, this mark, you will be you will be punished. Maybe you'll have some you'll get without the laptop, or without the phone, or whatever it was. So you're afraid of this, of the making mistake. When you are in the teenage year, right, you already are in a constant stress. If your parents are punishing or criticizing you for judging you, right, for your performance, then you can get the fear of making mistakes become even stronger. And then you get into the high school and the stress of like choosing your profession, going into college, and then you understand you're going to take the student loan if you need to, like all of that. Like, can you imagine the child from the age of 2 till 16, 18 is already in a constant fear of making mistake, right? I'm not saying about everyone. I know that there are some parents who are like super loving, and they are totally okay with you making a mistake. They don't care about your grades and marks, I'm sure there are people like that. When you go to work, same. College, same. First love, same. First job, same. If you're carrying on that fear of making mistake, that will show up in all areas of your life: relationship, friends, raising kids, financial struggles or financial situation. Like all of this is going to be showing up in your life. Fear of making mistake, right? Fear of failure, maybe we can call that, right? And what happens? What are the symptoms of this fear of making mistake? Is usually that we are indecisive. We don't know what to do. We're like torn between these different scenarios that can happen if we make a decision, right? So it's better not to make a decision as well, which leads to self-sabotage and procrastination, right? So fear of making mistake is real, causes lots of issues for us. Lack of initiative at work, right? Fear of making mistake can show up as people are not initiative. So, sometimes in a meeting, the managers can discuss the employees like, oh, I don't see the initiative from this employee. Like, do you know why? Have you asked why this person? Maybe that person was bitten severely, physically, for a mistake. So they don't know how to take initiative, right? So, and I know that some managers can be really supportive and really helpful, but some can be really insensitive, and they don't really realize that they need to support those people and create a safe place for them to start taking action, because, as I said, subconscious mind doesn't understand, and it rules our life. It rules our life. People who can be more conscious, they are usually very successful. People who can rewire their beliefs, they can, transform their beliefs. They are very persistent, right? They are successful, right? They don't procrastinate or self-sabotage themselves. Sometimes one of the symptoms of this fear of making mistake is fear of symptom is justifying your actions. So for example, you made a decision that you already overthink that it might be not the right one. You start to find excuses, right? Your ego wakes up and starts to find excuses to justify, right? You sometimes, when you are fearful of making a mistake, you can triple check, right? Triple check every project, everything, you usually don't delegate that easily, right? Because you feel like the responsibility is on you. So yeah, it's really, really hard. Really, really hard. This fear of making a mistake showing up in your building a relationship, coming to, to a girl to meet, right? To talk to. This fear can play out in you looking for a job, right? You can also be afraid. So, and it's not a difficult fear. It is a long fear that has been playing in your life, but it doesn't mean that it's very hard to overcome it. Just this little tricks and tips, right, that you have to do on the emotional level in your brain. The roots of this fear are: I'm not good enough, I won't even try. No matter what I try, I'm not good enough. So I might not even try. So this is the belief, right, that we form when we are kids. Children, usually people say that, oh, you can form that belief when you are in your adult life. No, you just confirm the belief that was formed earlier, just confirmed by the events. It's not like you were until 25, you thought that you were enough. You were absolutely confident, and everything was great. And all of a sudden, something really bad happened. And now you don't believe in yourself and you are not good enough. No, usually that not good enough, the feeling of worthlessness, right? It comes from earlier. And every event that happens in your life just confirms that belief. Right? Because if you are confident and you're not afraid of making a mistake, right? You feel like I'm enough, I love myself, right? Then if something happens, for example, a divorce or your partner cheated on you, right? Yes, you will be upset, but it will be so much easier for you to move on because you know that everything is available to you. You're like abundant. You're like, okay, well, if not this one, I'll find another guy, right? Or another girl. So That's what happens. So it doesn't happen just like this at 30. No, I'm not good enough. Happens very early. Fear of risking, right? Like taking a risk, right? It also can lead to a fear of making a mistake, right? If you are not doing what you love, many times I was talking about that. If you're not doing what you love, your fears will be stronger. Not only fear of making a mistake. You know, when you are doing what you love, you're following your heart, you're enjoying your job, then you see mistake as an opportunity, you know, just to learn and experience. So fear of change, fear of unknown, right? So we are afraid to make a mistake because we don't know what's going to happen. Or we know what's going to happen. Our mind, our subconscious mind feels like it's going to be punished. That we are going to be punished, so don't do that. Sometimes it's a fear of change. We know that if we take actions, then we don't know what's going to happen. So the change, so we choose familiar pain than unfamiliar. Very important. Some people are staying in the familiar pain. So they will procrastinate and be in pain constantly, then take action because of this fear of making a mistake, right? Or fear of unknown. Social media. I believe that social media from the early age sets a clear picture of how you should look like, how you should act, how rich you should be, right? And some of the motivational gurus are really great. They're talking about their mistakes. They're actually educating people that life is, full of ups and downs. But if you talk about fashion bloggers, beauty bloggers, most of them are creating this beautiful picture, really beautiful picture. I sometimes admire, people's ability, to post these really nice pictures, right? They seem like they make it seem very easy, make it seem very flawless, make it seem like it's so easier. I became a millionaire in 2 months. I became I lost weight and I in 2 or 3 months, right? So they make it like there were no mistakes. So people are like, oh, I have no right to make a mistake, right? Especially if you young girls are looking at that, right? They will do that. Try something in my nose. So what can you do? So first of all, you need to take small actions. It's not easy, but it's simple, right? So small little actions, something that is not going to hurt you, something that you might okay to be with if you make a mistake, right? So start small and increase the actions, right? Because action cures fears. Action cures fear. Procrastination breeds fear. Really. And this is something that you need to kind of remember. For me, it was a huge understanding that it's like if I procrastinate, if I keep watching Netflix instead of doing something purposeful or meaningful, right? Then I actually watching Netflix, I was in more depression that I was taking some actions. But I was so afraid to make a mistake, right? But once you start to do something, that gets easier. In order to take actions and to not be afraid of making a mistake, educate yourself on the stories of successful people. Watch YouTube biographies, stories of people who overcame so many struggles and challenges and obstacles to become successful, right? So watch, and then it's so much easier. You don't feel like something is wrong with you. You'll feel like, oh, that's okay. Millionaires, billionaires, gurus, they all make mistakes, right? And then it's so much easier for you as well. Also journaling, writing down the fear. Writing down all of your mistakes. Just take and write down every mistake that you did in the last year. Not every, but the most dramatic for you, right? Or some decisions that you made that were not the right decisions maybe, or they brought you more pain. So write them down and remember that every mistake holds a seed for success. Every single mistake that you do, whether it's big or huge, something that you feel like you will never be able to go back, it holds the seed for success. Because this is you will not go back to that decision anymore and you'll try different options. right? So which will kind of in the end lead you to your dream and goal. So be proactive, educate yourself, and then it will be so much easier for you to not feel alone and isolated with that fear. Love you. Bye.